So this was an action-filled chapter, but really, the kind of surprise at the end, I tell you, this kid Naruto never fails to amaze me. That's what I have to say.
Naruto, number 62, Trapped Like Rats.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and shadow clone jutsu heavy tale of Naruto. Our last chapter saw us with Kabuto, of course, teaming up with Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, and them being tricked into thinking they were actually moving closer to the tower and ultimately the end game. Of course, still needing a heaven scroll, but they were actually victims of basically being led in circles by an illusion, by genjutsu. By this, we're presuming this mysterious team that was kind of hiding in and watching them from the bushes a couple chapters back. So that's where things left off. Of course, we wind up seeing a ton of them just sort of surround them, and it looks like a ton of them. And this is right where we pick up. And as I thought, they're not all solid. It's obvious there's 10, 15, 20 of them, whatever the case may be. But they are just shadow clones. They are clones. And you can see as Naruto goes and blows one of them apart, it appears that they are. But then, all of a sudden, Sasuke wants to use the Sharingan. But prior to that, there's a kunai that's thrown at him, and they, and Naruto or somebody winds up warning him, Sasuke, duck, and Sasuke's body just doesn't move, and so anyway, Kabuto winds up going and tackling him basically, and winds up taking taking damage to his shoulder from this kunai. So then they go and they deem that for a minute they say, well, they can't be clones because clones can't actually physically hurt you, right? And this kunai, he's got a physical wound, And also we wind up seeing the bite, the curse mark bite from Orochimaru kind of flares up. So I don't know if I'm assuming that's what they're alluding to, that's what caused him to not move. Is because he said my body won't do what I'm telling it to do, right? What my mind's telling it to do. So obviously there's a third party in there, and that would be some Orochimaru, venom or semen or whatever the hell he put inside of Sasuke. But nonetheless, though, they wind up kind of seeing through the illusion quickly enough, and they are actually clones. But the ones that are creating the clones, the team that's creating the clones, they're hiding somewhere in the shadows. And what they're doing is they're disguising real attacks, making it look like they're coming from the direction of using the illusion again, right? That it's coming from one of these shadow clones to make it look like they're under attack by this like small army of clones. When in reality, it was one of them that tossed the kunai from the tree. It just made it look like it was coming from one of the shadow clones. So anyway, so we wind up finding out, like I said, very quickly, that's what it is. Naruto goes, and he's had about enough of that shit, because what they're going to do is because even Kabuto says, he's like, people like this are usually physically weak. They try to use illusion and attack from the shadows, and then once we're weak enough, they won't come at you straight with like a taijutsu. They won't physically come and attack you until they have to, until they believe that you're completely worn down. So that's the idea. That's what they're trying to do, is basically get them worn out, get them to expend their chakra, that sort of thing. So Naruto goes, and he does. He's going to go and burst out his chakra, and he's going to go and do his, I know it says in here the art of the doppelganger, but his shadow clone jutsu. And he just shadow clone jutsu, and a bunch of Narutos appear, shadow clones, and his clones are attacking their clones. And then they're like, and then you see these guys in the trees, and these guys all look like, they all look like, I don't know if they come from like the village of the underwater people or something like that, because they got like these like respirator type masks on, it looks like. They almost look like, anybody who's ever played the Mortal Kombat series, they look like Cyrax or Sector. Those two characters are like cyborgs, and they got these weird looking breathing apparatus things on their mouth. Almost like they need that to breathe the real air. So I don't know, but they haven't really been introduced at all, but you see them at one point kind of sitting in the trees, like talking to each other, and like, okay, well now we're just gonna have to create more clones, up the clones. So the clones are fighting it out, and I'm assuming that they're dueling it out all night long, right? And then Naruto's just like, I'm done, and goes and falls back on the ground. And we presume that everybody's been duking it out all night long, because then the next thing you know, it's, hey, listen, they're worn down, it's, this long fight, all that, it's time, and these ninjas are like, now we're going to move in, right? So they go and they wind up jumping in to move in, and they think that they got him, they think they got Naruto and company over here. And, yeah, I love this part. I know a lot of times I'll show pages from the chapters, but, it's because I honestly, I think it's cool as shit. Some of the ways things are drawn and everything else. So we wind up getting, it's great, they wind up coming down, and you know, they appear in front of, you know, Naruto and everybody and Kabuto and stuff, and they're like, oh, now you're done and this and that. And they're all exhausted, they're spent, they're on their knees, they're like, you know, they got nothing left, right? And then I love this. They go and they show the double page spread, and all of a sudden, bing! Everybody's behind them. Naruto went and faked him out, and while he was going and creating his, he was making them think that he was expending all his chakra and being a one-hit wonder with the shadow clones that he was putting out. But when he was doing that and they were keeping them busy and occupied, he was busy actually going and duplicating and cloning the rest of Team 7, of course Kabuto, and then while they were able to go and use illusions and genjutsu to actually go and hide their presence and be off somewhere in the shadows and what have you. I really love the way it was done, though, because then all of a sudden they just appear behind him like, hey, surprise, motherfucker! You know, that's what it reminded me of. So now who's the trapped rat? You know, nice work, Naruto. I love that too. He just kind of gave him the impression that he was like this one-hit wonder and that he had nothing else, that he was spent after that, you know. So it's kind of great. You know, they obviously were able to get the drop on him. They were able to lure him out, although it still seemed to take probably hours. They still were able to lure them out and of course get the drop on him, which I thought was great. You know, to kind of use an illusion on the illusionist. You know what I mean? To you know, to fool the one who was trying to fool you, right? Or trick the trickster, I guess you would say, right? Pretty cool. So it's kind of like getting one over on Loki. You'd be like, yeah, okay, I just got Loki. He's got burn, mother. Anyway. So that's how the chapter winds up ending off. You know, Sasuke says, hey, no, it's cool, Naruto, you've done enough, you're spent, let me take these dudes down. And Naruto's like, hell no, I'm gonna get in there too and get me some action too, Sasuke. So the chapter ends off with, you know, we presume that it's about to go down. And that's how things leave off. My chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is really, what are your thoughts, really, on what Naruto did? Because he obviously couldn't have communication, at least not that we saw anyway on the pages, with Team 7 and with Kabuto, so they kind of had to go and play along and maybe follow his lead. But he's surprising to me. He's a very, very multi-layered character in the sense that every time you go and you think that he is that he's just one-dimensional and that he's just not too bright and just jumps in there head first without thinking, he goes and pulls something like this and surprises the hell out of you. And then all of a sudden goes and you realize that this dude's kept up this facade, this illusion all night long, so they could get the drop on the other team. But anyway, my question to you, though, is what are your thoughts on Naruto and his way of going about handling this? You know, his tactics, his technique. You know, I thought it was ingenious, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are, brothers and sisters. Let me know in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
Say, if you could follow me over on my other channel as well as Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, it'd be most appreciated.